Let's pop that there. Where's my Apple Pencil? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Right, we are live. Nice one. Let's do this. Let's do this. Usual rigmarole of going live, but what can you do? What can you do? Never mind. So let's do that. Change to that. Boom. That's what we want to see. Put that there. Nice. Right, that's... Oh, is that straight? That is straight. Good. Right, let's pop these comments out. Usual steps so I can see the comments and questions. So we shall pop those there. Right in the middle. Good stuff. Right, we're ready to rock. Ready to rock indeed. Actually, let's make that a little bit smaller. Pop that just there. Right, we're on. Ready to go. So we just got to wait for some questions to come in now, because that's what we're here for. Let's close that off. Let's get some likes going, because that's always good. Oh, someone started following me. That's very nice. Always appreciate that. And we appreciate the likes as well. So lovely jubbly, I think, is the technical term for it. Let's get those going. Morning sunshine. No, I haven't had that greeting for a while. Morning sunshine. Will Halifax check all required documents again right before completion? No, they won't check the documents again. They might well do a credit check again, or not a credit check, but they'll look at your credit file. But no, they won't request documents. Documents are always requested at the beginning for the underwriting stage of things. Yeah, thank you for that. Morning sunshine. No one's addressed me in that way for a long, long time. Oh, that's made me chuckle. Very good. Yeah, so if you could tap the likes, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. Hello, I've got a mortgage approved, now passed over to solicitor, doing his thing. How long? The age-old question, how long is the conveyancing stage going to take? The best people to answer that are actually the solicitors acting on your behalf, because they'll have a good view of your case and the situation. There's no real time frame we can put on it, because there's so many variables that go into it, such as the speed of response from either solicitors, one side or the other, whether anything shows up in the searches that needs to be addressed. But yeah, if you want to know, get an idea of how long the conveyancing thing's going to take, then speak to your solicitor, because they're going to be in the best position to tell you. Thoughts on the budget? It wasn't as bad as I expected, actually. I was expecting that... I mean, it's not great for small business owners, obviously anyone employing 5 or more people. Absolutely, well, shocking from that case. I've got one client who texted me afterwards and said that the budget's going to cost him an extra 15 grand a year, just in national insurance increases, minimum wage increases. So it's costly if you run a business. I had hoped that they were going to reverse the thresholds decreasing on stamp duty. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I wasn't expecting the increase in the additional rate of stamp duty from 3 to 5%. So that came as a bit of a shock. But yeah, it's wasn't as bad as I expected, but of course, as always, they could have done more. Is it okay to press the solicitor? Yeah, you can do, but a thing to remember about in the conveyancing stages, a lot of the work goes on behind the scenes that you don't really need to be involved with. The solicitor isn't just sitting there doing nothing with your case. They act on it as things need doing. And quite a lot of the time, you don't need to be involved in that. You don't need to be updated on it. So that's why there's a lot of silence. When we're speaking to our clients initially, we tell them, look, the conveyancing stage is going to be very, very quiet. We fill that quietness with talking about protection and discussing the protection needs. But generally, it is going to be quiet, and the solicitor's not going to tell you anything unless they need your help with something or there's an issue. So just don't worry about it. Let them crack on and do their thing. Pestering them, obviously, if everyone pestered, the solicitor would be constantly on the phone and they'd never be able to get anything done, because they're managing multiple cases at once. So just let them crack on and do their thing. I just have to sort out a message from my daughter. 1 second. That has just come in, so let me just sort her request out, and I will be right back with you. Right, that's done. Cool. Right, back to the questions. Can you still get a mortgage with unsecured loan about 10k, car finance 12k, combined income of 100k? I would have thought that would be fine. I think your income's going to quite outweigh the outgoings. You'll certainly be able to get a mortgage. It just depends what your affordability will be like. Because when it comes to having existing debts, be them credit cards, loans, cars on finance, whatever, they are called committed expenditure because you are committed to pay those every single month. And that money is already spent. So that means that money can't be used to make a mortgage repayment. Therefore, you are allowed to borrow less on the mortgage. Obviously, if your income totally eclipses the outgoings, then it won't make too much of a difference. But generally, you can absolutely get a mortgage with committed expenditure. It's just how much you can borrow. Can I get a mortgage working 3 days? Yes, because the mortgage will be based on a multiple of your income. Whatever income you get for those 3 days you work, we would then multiply it by a certain factor, and then that will be how much you can borrow. Why do some solicitors increase their conveyancing price based on property value? Because there are potentially bigger liabilities, more work to do. That's a lot of them will price on value of the purchase of the deal. I have my first mortgage appointment coming up. What do I need to take with me? I don't know. It very much depends on your mortgage advisor, mortgage broker you're speaking to. If it was us, it's really just a chat. We ask you a number of questions about how much you earn, any committed outgoings, family. Is it just you on the mortgage? No, it's a chat from our perspective. It's an initial conversation. So we wouldn't expect you to bring anything with you. We would also fire out an email beforehand to let you know the kind of things we're going to be discussing. Can I use right to buy discount as deposit? Yeah, potentially. There are lenders that will allow that, yeah. Depending on the amount of discount, of course. Depends whether it is a worthwhile deposit. But yeah, right to buy discounts tend to be pretty sizable, so yes. Can you get a mortgage when you have had a debt management plan completed 3 years ago? Yes, you can. You can get a mortgage even if you're still in a debt management plan. As long as you've had it for 12 months and you've made all the repayments, then yes. Is there a charge for your service? There is. We charge $349, but only when we've got you a formal mortgage offer. How many months of pay slips do I need to show a self-employed worker for a mortgage? It's years worth of accounts. It's not pay slips with self-employed. To prove your income, if you're self-employed, we need to have at least 1 year's accounts and tax returns supplied. You still then have a relatively small choice of lenders. If you've got 2 or more years, the better. We have a mortgage in principle for 4.5%, but not fully applied yet. Will we get the 4%, 4.5 on new rate? You secure your rate when you put in a formal application. Very rarely do you secure it at dip stage. I think there might be 1 or 2 that do it at dip stage, but most are at applications when you secure the rate. I've got 2 missed payments on a credit card. Should I wait a year or so before considering a mortgage? It depends how long ago they were. If they're relatively recent, you're going to be looking at credit adverse lenders. If they were 12 months ago, it's going to open up lender choice. But make sure you speak to a broker that's got access to the whole of market, so that then we can have you'll then find that they have lenders that accommodate that kind of thing. Can a foreign national on a visa buy buy-to-let on a company? Depends what visa you're on, depends how long you've been in the country. Is it better buying a buy-to-let in a personal limited company? For the best answer on that, you're going to need to speak to a tax advisor or accountant, because the benefits are to do with tax. Personally, if I was going to buy a buy-to-let property, I would buy it through a limited company. Lots of things come into it, such as whether you're a basic or higher rate taxpayer, whether you're looking to protect a first-time buyer status, whether you're looking to buy more and more properties and put them all in the same business. But absolutely, speak to an accountant or a tax advisor to get the ins and outs of the tax benefits and disadvantages of buying in a limited company. Good question, though. Had to find an extra 7k. Yeah, obviously that stamp duty change came in instantly, which was a bit of a surprise. Can I repay or add more home equity between mortgages or only via mortgage repayment? It depends what product you've got. If your product allows overpayments, then yes, you can. It will stipulate how much overpayment you can make in the calendar year, or not the calendar year, it's going to be the year from when the mortgage took out. So confirm with your lender when the year is, but often it's about 10% of the outstanding balance in the year. If your product allows it, you can do it. How much does Klarna affect mortgages? I use it quite often, but paid in full with no missed payments. Okay, so persistent use of Klarna could, I stress could, look bad to a lender, because it might suggest you want to buy things but you can't afford them, so you have to spread it. But generally, you should be all right if you're conducting the accounts okay, you're making the payments, they're all closing off. I'm assuming it's mainly sort of like spread over 3 months kind of things. If you have an account that's open when the mortgage completes, then that might come into account when affecting affordability. But generally, it should be all right. I would just try and calm it if you can prior to mortgage applications. Could be better to stick overpayments and treat. I'm an employer, but employed by my own company. How many months pay slips do I need? If it's your own company, you earn over 25% of it. You're self-employed, and we need annual accounts. Mortgage offer at 4.1, but sellers haven't found anywhere yet. Would I be silly to look around still? If you've had a mortgage offer, what are you going to be looking around for? That mortgage offer is going to be valid for about 6 months. And if you're using a good broker and the rates decrease, which, by the way, I don't think they're going to, then they will change it for you. I'm 39, no debt, on about 31k a year, and I'm hoping to get 5% mortgage with a 6k deposit. Okay, yeah, that's fine. As long as you've got a good credit history, then you should be all right with a 95% deposit, 95% loan to value product. The credit scoring or credit assessing on them tends to be a bit stricter. Lenders do want it to be pretty clean. If you make overpayments on, is there a certain way to structure a remortgage to maintain benefits? What benefits? I don't understand the question, sorry. We are doing our full mortgage, November the 7th. Should we wait a few days for interest rates to change? No. No, fixed rates are only going one way at the moment, and that's up. I'm due to remortgage but have debts. Will this increase interest rates? Not necessarily. The debts will affect your affordability. You will potentially have higher rates if you have to go to a more specialist lender. For credit issues, credit adverse, or loan to income ratios, but generally you wouldn't see a change in rate. What is classed a good credit score? When it comes to mortgages, it doesn't matter because credit scores are irrelevant. It's your whole credit history for the last 6 years that they look at. If you were me, would you get a fixed 5-year 3.95 or 2-year 4.10 with the same fees? I don't know, because I don't know your situation. You need to know the whole situation, future plans, considerations, attitude to risk, all that kind of stuff. Your broker should be speaking to you and advising you what is best. Is credit score of affordability score more important? Credit score is irrelevant. It's the content of the credit file. What line of work are you in? I don't know. What do you reckon? I don't know. Have a guess. Have a guess what line of work I'm in. Have a guess. Can you explain capital gains tax? No, because I'm not an accountant. Soul24 knows. Can you relocate and get a mortgage without jobs to go to if you have 50k in savings? To get a mortgage, you need income. So not really, no. I'm looking to buy 530k second property. How much stamp duty do I have to pay? Look it up on the internet. There are plenty of calculators out there, but as it's a second property, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs. Is it going to be an additional property, or is it going to be a new one to replace an existing? So are you selling and buying a new one? If you're selling and buying a new one, you will pay stamp duty above 250,000 on the proportion that's above 250,000. If it's an additional property, you will pay stamp duty on a proportion above 250,000 plus an additional 5%. So have to work that out. Regional manager of Sainsbury's in the Hertfordshire region. No. What is shared ownership? So shared ownership is a way of buying that you buy off a local housing association and you buy a share of the property and then rent the rest from them. So you have a mortgage and rent, but you also have a service charge. So look at all the costs if you're considering shared ownership. If you have an option to buy without shared ownership, I would strongly recommend doing that first. Oldest person I've seen with a mortgage. I'm currently dealing with a lady who is 91. Other than conveyancing, mortgage and surveyors, is there anything I need to do? No. You don't really need to do anything. If you use a good mortgage broker, you don't really need to do anything at all. Seriously, 91 with a mortgage? Absolutely, yes. There's viable income, so it's there. It's fine. DIP approved. Application went to audit. Declined. No reason. How long should we wait to do another? You can do it straight away if you want. Just it suggests to me you're not doing it with the right lender. Use a broker and get it done right. You probably didn't meet their criteria, so they declined it. Always use a broker to make sure you get the right result. I've got a new build mortgage. Can I port to another new build with incentives? That is a very good question that I don't know the answer to. Possibly not, because I'm thinking the incentives part. Possibly not, because it depends whether the existing lender will accept the incentives. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure on that one, Ben, I'm afraid. How does EPC rating affect mortgages? There are some mortgages which are designed for energy efficient homes, such as A, B or C, where you might get a better rate. In fact, you do get a better rate, just thinking about how they come up on the sourcing systems. So, yeah, generally the better the EPC, the better. The 91-year-old assuming it's a company lender. What does a company lender mean? Let's not guess circumstances of my clients because I'm not going to tell you. All I can tell you is that I've got a 91-year-old client with a mortgage. 90% loan to value, product now, or 95% loan to value. Extra. I can't. No, it's gone too fast. What the fixed rate for Halifax at the moment? There's loads of different ones. Loads of different ones. I can't tell you. There's no point me telling you a rate if you're not eligible for it. How much could a first-time couple earning 50k combined be offered? No bonus, no children. So 50k, I mean, you could potentially... I mean, there is a slight chance. Let's go with this to be cautious. 275 borrowing? Yeah, I mean, if you've got a good credit file, you could be looking at 275, maybe a smidge more. But it depends then if you've got any sort of cars on finance or anything like that needs to be taken off. The mortgage is a rip of, and you know it. Fraudulent corporation. It would actually be, if you're saying that, it's off, not of. So the mortgage would be a rip off. OFF, not of. So I think we can assess your situation based on your spelling. Can you get a mortgage for a barn conversion after you've got planning permission? Yes, that would be what's called a self-build mortgages. There's a couple of types of them, so yeah. Okay, Frank, feel free to scroll on. What a tool. Oh, Frank, we're just laughing at you, Frank. Just had our survey result. 15k structural damage needs fixing. Can I get the vendor to pay for damage for commission? Yeah, so on that basis, so if you get your survey back and it thinks, or they say that work needs doing, you've got a few options. One, you can say to the vendor, get it fixed before we buy it. Or you can ask them to reduce the price so that you can get it done afterwards, or you can walk away. They're your three choices. Well, I'm laughing at all. What does that mean, Clear Vision? Got a mortgage in principle Thursday. Thanks for all tips. No worries. But why are you not using us for your mortgage in principle? Shocking. 57k a year. How much can I borrow? I mean, you could potentially times that by 5.5, but without knowing your full situation, it's difficult to really say. Has Frank gone? That's a shame. This guy ignoring my question on purpose. That's crazy. Harley, I've not seen a question from you, so calm down. Dee dee dee. Have you had many people pull out mortgages? Um, a few. Also, have people changing the requirements of mortgages since the budget? Dee, 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 dee. Mm. It's never a good idea to pull out. You don't get the full benefit. Are you being an idiot? What's the highest interest you've seen on a mortgage? Well, they are you talking about one that someone's taken out or actual rates out there? They're going into the eights, nines, if you want. First buy to let. Should I leave it personal or get a mortgage and quote limited company? You need to speak to an accountant or a tax advisor about that to get the tax perspective of it. And please don't spam the comments. I'm getting a 3.99 interest rate for 2 years mortgage. My current mortgage is expiring January 25. Make the most of that because I don't think rates starting with the 3 are going to be around for too much longer. And we hit 21k tax. Feel like strangling the seller. What? Our current first time buyer, no stamp duty limit is 425. Was it ever higher in the past? No. Well, there was a time when there was a complete stamp duty holiday. But yeah, 425 is high. Make the most of that as well because that's decreasing on the 1st of April next year, reducing to 300,000. How much could I borrow? 56k a year self-employed and have no debts. It depends on how you're self-employed, how you're paid. It needs to be assessed. I can't answer it on here. Also depends what sort of buyer you are, what sort of mortgage you're looking for. But yeah, there's many things that go into this. How much equity can I take if I remortgage? Generally up to about 85. Some might go to 90%. Depends what you're using it for. And you've got to be able to afford it, of course. Are interest rates coming down? No. What benefits can be used as income for mortgage? PIP, DLA, universal credit. Yes, all of those. Not the housing element of universal credit, but there are lenders that will take PIP, DLA, universal credit, child benefit. So yeah, they're generally viewed as income by lenders. Can a student loan affect offers from lenders? If you're paying back your student loan, yes, because it will show up on your pay slips and be taken off as a deduction. It obviously affects your net pay. So yeah, it will have a little bit of an impact. Missed payment on OD, is that overdraft, on old account not used, went £1 over limit, will this affect remortgage? Depends how and if that has been recorded on your credit file. Get a check my file report using the link in my bio for free, and you'll be able to see if it's been recorded on there at all. If it has, it might cause a little issue, but ideally not, because then you won't have an issue. But yeah, get your free credit report from the link in my bio. Lauren's here. Lauren's in the house. That is awesome. Always good when Lauren's here. Everyone say hello to Lauren. Unless I'm off. No, I'm around. The Bambinos are out at the in-laws, and I don't have to go. Result. So yeah, I'm catching up with a bit of work. Mind you, I've been doing work all morning, and just doing a bit now. Doesn't annual bonus count towards your wages when applying? Yes, it can do. There are different lenders who take different amounts of the bonus. So if it's a key part of the income, we'd naturally be looking for one that would take 100% of it into consideration. How do late payments affect ability to buy, and when do their effects start to reduce? So a late payment will show on your credit file for 6 years, and as long as it's on there, it's going to be visible to lenders and may reduce your choice of lenders. The longer they sort of The longer time goes on, the less impact they tend to have. But while it's still on there, it will be visible. And like I say, you will be excluded from some lenders, not all. Is Nationwide 6 times any good? What's the criteria? You will be lucky to actually get 6 times your income with Nationwide. It doesn't actually happen too much. Criteria wise, you've got to be earning over 30k as a sole buyer, sole applicant, or over 50k as a joint applicant. First time buyers, you've got a minimum of 5% deposit, generally good credit history. What else? Can't be used on new builds, or new build loan to values are going to be different, sorry. So yes, quite a range. How does it work if we are 2 years into 5-year mortgage and want to move? Either you port your mortgage to the new property or you pay the early repayment charge to come out of it and get a new one. Received mortgage offer from NatWest, rates have gone down. If request new offer with rates, will they do credit? No, it should just be a change of product. It should be fine. They may look at it again, but generally it should be all right. Oh, nice bit of coffee. I had one at the gym this morning, but this one's going down a treat. How many times my earnings will most lenders lend me? As self-employed. Sorry, I missed the self-employed bit. It's not like that for self-employed. It depends what we're taking as income for self-employed as to how much they will lend. So it needs to be properly assessed with self-employed. General rule of thumb for employed is 4.5 times your annual income. Some lenders offer 5, 5.5, even 6, depends on your situation. What credit score should I aim for before applying for a mortgage? There isn't such a thing, because credit score is irrelevant when it comes to mortgages, because it's based on the content of your credit history for the last 6 years. Credit score is just a snapshot of how healthy your credit file is at this very point in time. It doesn't tell us what it's got on it for the last 6 years. Lauren knows, see? It's what's inside the credit file that matters. And Lauren, do you know where they can go to get a free Check My File credit report? Here we go. Lauren's going to tell us. Will any lenders accept 1 year's company accounts? Yes, there's a handful that will. James, you are welcome. I've got one default due to fall off in 6 months. Should I wait or start discussing? You can start discussing it now because you will have options now. But, you know, if it comes off in 6 months, then they might be slightly different. It's worth having a look. Do estate agent fees get added onto your mortgage, or do you buy them separately? You shouldn't have any estate agent fees if you're buying. If an estate agent is charging you to buy a property, stick 2 fingers up at them and tell them to do one. And also, the only fees that can be added onto a mortgage are the product fees. Do you think Bank of England will drop rates next week? Well. I was watching something this morning, and previously I was thinking they would, because people were thinking that this time next year we could be down to a base rate of about 3.5%, whereas analysts are now predicting this time next year we're going to be at about 4% based on the fallout from the budget. So it's tricky. We might have one. Before the end of the year. Is getting a mortgage the same as getting handcuffed? What do you think? How much mortgage can nurses get as key workers? Depends how much they are paid. Doesn't really make a difference to being a nurse or a key worker. I have a deadline from my landlord to instruct a solicitor, but I've not been offered a mortgage yet. That's fine. You can still instruct a solicitor. My broker is checking a gift from uncle will be accepted as not immediate family. Will this be okay? Some lenders require it to be immediate family. NatWest, for example, are all right with it coming from an uncle. Your broker should know that off the top of their head. Also, if you buy a property over 300k first time buyer, do you pay stamp duty now? Not at the moment, no, but after the 1st of April you will. Would a mortgage advisor send off applications? There's a chance it wouldn't be accepted? we would send off an application in good faith that we would hope it'd be accepted. It can be declined for any reason whatsoever. So, and there's no guarantee that sending in an application will be accepted. What the broker will do is research the market and apply to the most appropriate lender, but there is no guarantee of outcome when a mortgage is applied for. Depends on how they view it as underwriting. So, yeah, there's no guarantee. Does the solicitor need to be a panel of lender? Yes, your solicitor absolutely needs to be on a lender. Oh, it's gone, Lauren. Does need to be on a panel. What was the question? Sorry, I don't see pinned comments. I've been self-employed for over 3 years. I assume that's enough for lenders to look at my earnings. Absolutely, yes. So that's ideal. I mean, 3 years company accounts, superb. Yeah, that's great. You'll have a good choice of lenders. My stamp duty has gone up by 10k. I have renegotiated with seller. Am I being unreasonable? No, absolutely not. I mean, it's up to you to pay the price you want. As Nationwide offer good amount with the scheme, I have 2 jobs basic. Nationwide won't necessarily take 2 jobs. Does an active drafty account balance? What the hell's drafty account? Any experience of mortgage company asking for work to be completed before completion? Yes. So they withhold some funds before it's done? Yes. I had a mortgage offer agreed, but now have a bigger deposit available. Do I need to reapply? You don't need to reapply. You just need to get your mortgage broker to adjust the figures and get an updated offer. The new deposit may mean you flip over into the lower bracket of loan to value, which might mean you get a slightly better rate. So speak to your mortgage broker on that one. How long does a mortgage application take to go through with Nationwide? There's no guarantee of time frames, but a couple of weeks generally. Oh, Imdog241, thank you for that. What would be payments on 270k house, 500k roughly? I can't answer that. There's so many variables that go into that. What should we prioritise paying down before we apply? Better to get credit cards down or loans? Both are viewed exactly the same, so it doesn't matter. How much deposit is usually best for a house? Best deposit is 10% or more. But you can buy a property with 5% deposit. The more deposit you put down, the better, generally. How can I instruct a solicitor if I've not been offered a mortgage and need to reapply with deadline? You can easily instruct a solicitor, and then they will be, because you have to go through the ID phase with them and all that kind of stuff, and then they will wait for the mortgage offer. Your mortgage broker should be able to sort that out for you quite easily. Mortgage lender now asks for final checks of mother's maiden names and direct debit. Good sign. Well, we need to fill out the direct debit details at the start of an application. So it depends on, lenders don't do things all in the same order. So one lender might start with a valuation and then do the underwriting. It's all higgledy-piggledy. As a first-time buyer, can I buy a house outright with a Help to Buy ISA? If you've got enough money in your Help to Buy ISA, you can do, as long as it's under the threshold of a Help to Buy ISA. After receiving a mortgage offer, how likely is it that you'll get the property? Well, if you've got a mortgage offer, you've got the funding secured, so it should be fine. 24, and might buy our house via right to buy with my mum, worried about future finance. Advice? Not a financial advisor, I can only advise from a mortgage perspective. Offer accepted, but house is still for sale with another estate agent. Should we be concerned by this? Yes, absolutely. It should be sold subject to contract with all estate agents. Tell that other estate agent it's sold. How quickly can I buy with a new limited company? So you can set a company up today and apply for a mortgage for it tomorrow. Remortgage, can I get one approved 6 months before, even if mine is 3 months before? Even if mine says 3 months. Yep, there are lenders that allow you to secure a remortgage 6 months out, so you can secure a good rate today to protect yourself from any increases that may be coming down the tracks. If you use a good mortgage broker, they can also lower the rate if it decreases. How many years tax return for sole trader to buy? At least 1 year, ideally 2 or 3, or 2 or more, I should say. How long would it take for me to know if a mortgage has been declined at credit stage. If it's been declined, they'll tell you straight away. How can I instruct a solicitor? I've not been offered. I've answered that already. You can appoint a solicitor at any stage you want. We asked the same with Accord, but they said we have to wait until 3 months before our fixed rate ends. Yeah, lenders are different. Some are changing it, but 6 months before generally. That I assume you're talking about a product transfer there. If you're staying with Accord, it'll be a product transfer. Are concessionary mortgages still a thing? Thinking of buying direct from the landlord? Absolutely, they're still a thing. Yeah, so if you are able to buy a property from a landlord or a family member and they give you a discount off the market value of the property, that would be called a concessionary mortgage. And the discounted amount could potentially act as a deposit, meaning you wouldn't have to put any money in of your own. There are some lenders that might want you to put in a little bit, but generally, yeah, concessionary purchases still exist. And yeah, it's a good way of buying if you can. Not mortgage question. My insurance being increased. I'm not insured. How likely is it to work 1 year's tax returns? There are lenders that have that will go off 1 year's tax returns. As a handful of lenders, you're not blessed with the ultimate choice. So if there is something particularly quirky in your situation, you're going to have a limited choice on where that can go. But we do have access to lenders that will do it on 1 year's. The estate agents are sending us quotes for surveyors. Should we shop around? Absolutely. You never use the estate agents for anything other than buying a house. Do not use their solicitors. Do not use their mortgage advisors. Do not use their surveyors. I had an example where someone came on a live and said they'd been quoted £5,000 for a survey from the estate agent. We then ran a quick quote and it came out to £800. So definitely do not use estate agents for that. 20k deposit, 43-year-old, good probability to be approved. Find a place. Andre, 20k deposit, depends what you're paid annually to then work out how much you can borrow. Age shouldn't really affect it, but yeah, certainly worth looking at it. Mike is echoing. Not a lot I can do about that, I'm afraid. Seems to echo for some people and not others. Had initial call with broker and sent off info and waiting for more info from them. Viewed one. Luke, how's it going? Viewed one house yesterday and want to put an offer in. What's the next steps? I'd wait until you get an agreement in principle before you put an offer in, because then you're going to know how much you can afford and how much you can actually offer. How much can I borrow in 42k first time buyer? Very roughly, times it by 5. I don't know your full situation, so take that with a pinch of salt. Is it harder to get a mortgage for a single buyer than couples? No. No, affordability checks aren't stricter. It just means that you don't have the benefit of having two incomes to combine to then get the affordability you might want. So yeah. Got AIP for what? Fine, if you've got the AIP, then go for it. Are cashback mortgages popular? Not heard of them before and how it works. A lot of mortgages offer cashback. It shouldn't be a deciding factor in getting a mortgage, getting a particular product. It should always be a bonus. Is a decision in principle the same as an agreement in principle? Yes. Also could be called a mortgage in principle. What's the downside of converting for 6 months interest only? You're not paying off any capital of the loan. You're just paying interest. I'm living with family but let 2 properties. We'll have to pay more stamp duty. Yes, you will. You'll have to pay the additional rate stamp duty as well. Husband has bad credit. We paid off all debts now. What can we do to show lenders we are reliable? Not a lot, because if he's got a bad credit situation, it's still going to be showing on a credit file for 6 years. They will look at the whole credit history. They'll look at the credit file. If you want a copy of what they see, you can get a free check my file report from from the link in my TikTok bio. But yeah, if there's issues on the credit file, they'll sit on there and they'll be visible. What's the difference between interest-only mortgage and normal? Well, it's not interest-only and normal. It's just 2 different payment methods. One is called repayment, where you pay the capital of the loan and interest. The other one is interest-only, when you're just paying interest. You're not paying off any capital. First time buyer, offer accepted this week, no chain, 330. Should we be worried about getting charged stamp duty? It should certainly be something in your mind, but the benefit you've got is there's no chain. As you're a first time buyer, you've got no chain. There's no chain on their side, so fingers crossed you'll get it through beforehand. Do you know about Islamic mortgages? We don't do them, but we can put you in touch with someone who does. Decision in principle versus an actual offer. How reliable are decision in principles? It depends. And I say it depends on who's done the decision in principle. If you've gone through a broker, I would suggest it's relatively reliable because they would have done research. They would have looked at your situation, your affordability and your criteria, and matched that with the most suitable lender to then do the decision in principle with, and then the ultimate application. If you've done it yourself, who knows whether you actually suit the criteria of that lender you're applying to. So you might get the decision in principle. When it comes to application, they apply their lending criteria. They could quite easily decline it. So very much depends on who's done it. Use a broker always and you'll get the better results. Luke knows. Can searches come back earlier than the due date? That's one for your solicitor. They can do, of course. When is the stamp duty due to go up and how much by? The stamp duty itself is not going up. The thresholds at which you start paying stamp duty are decreasing and they are changing on the 1st of April 2025. Yeah, I meant to do it. I don't know how to do it. Can I do it on here? Let me hang on, Luke. I might be able to do it. 1 second. Hold your horses there, Luke. Let's just try and do this. Oh, I don't know. No, I don't know if I can. No, because I use software to do my TikTok lives, I can't do it as if I was doing it. I'll have to have a look. I know how to do it, but I use streaming software to do my live. So I can't do it from the software I use, unfortunately. If I do a lot, I'll tell you what, I'll have to do a live using the phone or the iPad at some point, and then I can do it from there. Why would I not want to sign up for an offset mortgage? One, because the choice of offset mortgage is absolutely abysmal. There aren't any really anymore. So your choice is poor. Can you put me through to someone who does Islamic mortgages? Yes, I can do. If you send me an email to the email address above, hello@mellowfinancial.co.uk, with your name, your email address, your contact number, and a summary of what you're looking to do, the purchase price, all that kind of stuff, then I can certainly send that on to our people. So do feel free to get in touch. Coventry recommended offset to you, did they? Okay. If you've gone direct to the bank, then you're on your own. I've had no update from the seller solicitor for 4 weeks now, and they're not responding. Can I switch? Can you switch what? Your solicitor and their... It's between your solicitor and their solicitor. You really shouldn't be getting involved with chasing the other side's solicitor. Leave it to your solicitor to do the work. What is an offset? So it's a mortgage where the interest is offset an amount you hold in a savings account. They're really not very popular. They used to be, but I think when we had the banking crash in 2008 and interest rates fell through the floor, it was pretty pointless holding money in savings account because the returns were pretty low. So therefore the offset mortgages just disappeared and they've never really come back. Does 0% deposit exist? Potentially, yes. There's a couple of mortgages where you can get 100% mortgage. Very particular criteria and situations that they are suitable for, but yeah, you can do. What is stamp duty for 425,000 additional property now with new rise? Well, there are stamp duties online, And I'm not actually, that's a question for a solicitor to answer based on your situation. But you can roughly work it out using the calculators online. It's going to be the normal stamp duty plus an additional 5%. Our first mortgage is a good broker. I'm not going to comment on other brokers, am I? Never heard of them, to be honest. Never heard of them. I just find it weird. Why would you ask me? Are such and such a good broker? Yeah, they're awesome. Go there. Take all your business to that broker. Yeah, do it. Do it. Because I just, I just sit here just for fun. Rachel, come on, gotta cut me some slack, Rachel. You gotta cut me some slack. I mean, come on. Some things. Is CMAP the only qualification for mortgage brokers? No, you can do the CII, which is the Chartered Insurers Institute. You can do it that way as well. But they're the sort of the equivalents. Do the CMAP one. Do brokers get their wages from the policy sold with the mortgages? It depends on how they're set up. Do you just specialise in mortgages? No, I do protections, wills, protection, so life insurance, critical illness, income protection, wills, all kinds of stuff. So brokers, it depends on the bidder's model. They charge fees. We get commissions off back of mortgages, on policies, will writing, all that kind of stuff. First time buyer here. Can I borrow above the property value to include renovations? No. No lender is going to... That would mean 100% plus. Absolutely not. I am submitting an RTB1 decided just yesterday. Not sure if I can afford it. Okay, there's no question there. Exchange and completion. Can I send my solicitor funds from 5 accounts? Any transfer fees? That's one for your solicitor, isn't it? Depends how they operate. Depends if they're all right with that or not. Do you do right to buy for people on benefits due to disability? If it's viable income, yeah, we can do that. 23 years ago, an estate agent broker would only give us a mortgage if we took out £100 worth of policies. Well, there you go. That's a prime reason why you don't use estate agents for anything other than just buying a house. It's changed a bit. It's changed a lot, actually. So we do the mortgage, and the regulator does now require us to discuss protection with you. But I spell it out to our clients that we have to do it. They don't have to take it. It's up to them. It'll be wise to take it, of course. It'll be wise to have every single insurance policy in the whole wide world. But they don't have to take it. But if they don't take it, they do have to sign a disclaimer to say we have discussed it and they've rejected the advice. So, there's no you have to take this, but it'll be wise to. The only compulsory insurance when it comes to getting a mortgage is buildings insurance, and you have to have that in place from when you exchange contracts. That's the only compulsory insurance. It's wise to have things like life insurance, income protection, critical illness, but then they're not compulsory. The banks do not give you money for mortgages as it comes out of our birth certificate bond. What the hell are you talking? Frank, you're an utter nutcase. What are you talking about? Our birth certificate bond? What a weirdo. Are you a landlord too? If not, why? Because you're in the industry. Because I don't want to be a landlord. Why do I have to be a landlord to be a mortgage broker? The last thing I want in my life is the hassle of being a landlord. No, thank you. God, I have to be a landlord to give mortgage advice. Another nutcase. I'm ripping people off my lies. Frank, you're an angry man. Calm down, Frank. Chill out, Frank. It's the weekend. Do you think I can get a mortgage if I have missed credit card payments? Yes, I do. I think you could do, yeah. If you're asked, all right, people asking me how to avoid inheritance tax, loopholes for things. I'm ignoring your comments. They're stupid comments. You're stupid for asking them in such a public forum. So I'm not going to answer them. Exactly. You can't avoid it. Taxes have to be paid. We don't do tax avoidance, so we don't do it. Stop asking. Frank's angry. Frank's an angry little man, isn't he? If you have a part mortgage, can you pay off the interest part and keep the repayment part? Um, I James, I'm sorry, I don't totally understand the question. Sorry, I'll mute them. Yeah, they need blocking these tools. But sometimes I quite enjoy laughing at them. It's quite fun. I want to change to a lower rate before completion. Will I need to do new application? Nationwide? No. Your broker can go in and change it for you. Do most first-time buyers apply for 5 or 10% deposit mortgage? I can't use terms such as most people do this. It's not. We have plenty of first-time buyers doing 5%. So we have plenty of first-time buyers doing 10%. I can't say most do this, to be honest, because I don't think there is an obvious split between them. Is that Speedmaster reduced? Yes, it is. It was my 18th birthday present. Is it what you can afford to put as a deposit? Generally, the more deposit you can put down, the better. Because it means you're not having to borrow so much, and two, it might give you a better rate. Frank's been ripped off by Keir Starmer. Let's not bring politics into my life, please. Any help to buy schemes good? There aren't any help to buy schemes really. Help to buy closed. So yeah, that's gone, I'm afraid. There are numerous products from different lenders which are designed to help people get on a housing ladder in different ways. So do feel free to book in a call and we can explore any with you. Can you change jobs before completing mortgage approved? Absolutely do. You can do, but don't do it because it could well screw up your application. The rule is do not do anything to jeopardize your application before it's completed. Now that includes buying anything on finance, maxing out credit cards, changing jobs. Don't do any of that because your lender will look and they might not be happy with it. Some lenders might not be happy with the length of time you've been in your new job. Some lenders might not be happy if you're in a probation period. So you've just got to be really careful. Just because you've had the mortgage offer, that can be revoked. Don't do anything until your mortgage completes. Seriously. Is stamp duty an upfront cost? Yes, it is. Are 10-year fixed any good? What do you mean by good? Depends on your situation and what the rate is and whether you want that certainty for 10 years or not. Is there a way I can remortgage when in a fixed rate? There is, but you'll have to pay an early repayment charge to come out your existing fixed rate. Paying out X 75k with a second mortgage. 6 months I'll move. Which mortgage is the best type? With a second mortgage? Do you mean a second charge mortgage? It's an expensive way to do it. Is there any point with the right to buy scheme now? I think you'll still get a discount. It's just the amount of discount has been reduced. 53k salary and I have 16k unsecured loan but paying every month, not missed. Am I okay? The loan will just affect your affordability. You should be all right still applying for it. It's whether you'll be able to get the borrowing you need. Can you block this spammer? What's he doing? I'm not. I can't see that. What spammer's that? Which one are you talking about? Who pays the broker? We charge a fee, and the banks also pay commissions. Can you negotiate the maximum amount cap that you can repay early before incurring penalty? No. I'm not a spammer. I've not seen questions. Oh, we got drama. One second. I just have to sort out a request from my daughter. Let's give her that all day. There we go. Let's go back there. Good. What's going on? Would you recommend going the top end of your affordability if you don't have many overheads? I don't. Look, you've got to take a sensible approach on this. Don't stretch yourself. Because we saw a lot of people, for example, when rates were 1%, a lot of people stretched themselves to that maximum affordability. Then they come around to remortgage and found rates have quadrupled and they're stuck because they stretched themselves. My advice is don't max yourself out, because leave yourself some headroom. I spoke to a broker yesterday. All I need is 10k. Why is it so hard to get that? It's not hard to get that at all. Is affordability now 5.5 times salary? No, the general rule of thumb is it's 4.5, but there are some instances where you can get 5.5 and 6. Would you recommend paying a mortgage off early? I can't recommend it. I'm not a financial advisor. However, isn't the dream to be mortgage free? If I had the money to pay my mortgage off early, I would. Frees up a good grand a month that we could use something else. How would you get a £10,000 mortgage? Very easily, by applying to a lender to get a £10,000 mortgage. I'm on a 28-year mortgage with 270 outstanding, and I can do it with 18 months. Good for you. 25k salary for a 168k house with a 35k discount, affordable. Is that 168 the discounted price or not? Again, should you though? I'm not a financial advisor. I can't answer that. It is unheard of to get more than 6 times salary. Yes, generally. Should I close credit cards on overdraft to avoid dipping into them, or just look back? No, close them off. If you're not doing it, close them off. If your offer's accepted, the estate agent will charge 80 quid for anti-money. Don't ever pay anything to a stamp duty. It's not 6% now. It's 4.5%. I answered your question a minute ago. You leave Luke alone. In fact, you can be blocked for that. See ya. He's going, Luke. He's off. Toodaloo. Motherfucker. He's gone. Broker is charging me 2,700, but he's saying he would guarantee a mortgage. Oh my word. Do not pay 2,700. That is absolute rip-off. We charge 349 and no one can guarantee they'll get you a mortgage. That just sounds dodginess and illegal beyond all belief. Do not pay 2,700 for a mortgage broker. Is 17% deposit good? If that's what you can afford, that's good. Yeah. The more deposit, the better, generally. 70k annual salary, the bonus 30k last year. What could he borrow? Maximum. Times it by 5. And then, again, that's very loosely. Times it by 5. Depends whether you've got any outgoings or any other committed expenditure. But that's your starting point. I have 40k save and I'm 48 with BFA year. What's BFA? Want to buy a first home at 25. Would you put all deposit? What is BFA? With BFA, not sure I understand that. Does a 5k gift towards a house look bad for mortgage application? No, not at all. A lot of I deal with quite a few clients who get gifted their deposits. It's absolutely fine. It just has to be declared as a gift. So to declare a gift, the person gifting you that deposit will need to write a letter to say they have no interest in the property, it's a gift, they don't want it repaid, also your relationship to them. And they're probably going to have to prove where the money's come from. So maybe 3 months bank account statements to show that it is legitimate money that they are gifting you. So then you've got your proof of deposit. Would you add the bonus amount to the annual salary then by 5? It depends. It depends on the lender as to how much of the deposit, how much of the bonus they're going to take into account, how regularly you get it, what proof you've got of it, all that kind of stuff. When you say loans affect affordability, is there a specific a calculation they do? There is. There's multiple different lenders with different ways of calculating affordability. When you go to a broker, we assess your affordability across the whole range. So go with that. How long after the gift it received is it declarable for? It's always declarable. Declarable? Is that a word? You always need to declare it as a gift. Do brokers just help with finding a mortgage, or do you do the legwork too, such as application? Yeah, we do it absolutely all. We do all of it. I say to my clients, all you've got to do is send me some documents, have a couple of chats with me, and then we'll do everything. That's all they've got to do. Oh no, they send us the documents, have a couple of chats, and go house hunting. I'll do the rest. What is a remortgage? It's moving your loan, your existing mortgage, to a new provider. Remortgaging. I have a mortgage and help to buy. If I sell my house, how does it work with the help to buy? So you will have to pay back 20% of the value of your property to the help to buy people. So what you do is you contact them, say, look, selling my house, this is how much we're selling it for, and then they will tell you how much they want it back. What about arranging surveyors? Yep, we can do that. We can arrange the surveyors, the solicitors, everything. We can do it all. Do you cover all of the UK? We absolutely do. What's the likelihood of getting approved for a remortgage if it goes to the credit underwriters? I don't know. It depends on the situation. Everything gets underwritten. Everything. All applications are always underwritten, so that's where it comes from. If you're paying 5% interest on a fixed term 5-year, after the 5-year, can you move to a different lender? Yes, that's exactly it. So that 5-year fixed for 5 years is known as your fixed term deal. So you've got a deal for 5 years. At the end of that deal, you've got options. You can do what's called a product transfer, which means staying with the same lender, but moving to a new product to secure a new fixed term deal, possibly. You can remortgage, so move your loan from your existing lender to another one. So you go to a different lender for better terms, better rates, or you can sell and pay it all off. The worst thing to do is absolutely nothing, because if you do that, you will then go on to the lender's standard variable rate, which tends to be really high and really expensive. So the rule is 6 months before your fixed term deal is due to come to an end, get in touch with the mortgage broker so they will assess your situation and advise on what's going to be the best course of action for you for your next deal. So if my house sold at 320,000 and my help to buy loan was 50,000, I don't pay the whole 50,000 back. Well, it's 20% of the three. You'd be paying back 64,000. You pay back the 20% of the sale price of the property. Been working full time for 2.5 years. Is it sufficient for getting a mortgage? Absolutely, yes. Yes, it is. If you get a top up from university credit, I'm sure you mean universal credit, is that okay to still apply? Yes, but not the housing element. They won't take the housing element into account. What happens if you lose your job and you're no longer seen as affordable, but you keep up payments? If you're still in a fixed term, nothing to worry about as long as you make your payments. It's when it comes to remortgaging that your options are going to be very, very limited. Probably just looking at a product transfer in that instance. But again, there might be other options. Who knows? Let me just check something. Right, is it going quiet? Have people finished their lunch and so now they're wrapping up for oh. Sorry, have I missed where's the Norwich mug? It's in the wash. It's in the dishwasher. I'm back with the boring one. Yeah, so boring mug at the moment. Do I have a chance of getting a mortgage on £2 a month by myself? It's done on your annual salaries, but yeah, of course, yes. It's just done on how much you can borrow is based on how much you earn. So yeah, late payments from British Gas in May 24. Will Halifax care about this? Probably. What's your opinion on shared ownership? If you've got another way of doing it, so if you can buy traditionally without shared ownership, then I'd suggest doing that. If you are looking at shared ownership, make sure you do good amount of research into it. So look at all the costs. Your three main costs are your mortgage, your rent, and your service charge. Service charge is what catches a lot of people out because it does tend to get more and more expensive over time. It also depends on your strategy. Are you going to be using shared ownership as a stepping stone to then, sell in the future and move on to something else? Or are you going to look to staircase and buy more and more over time? So it all depends on a few things. So certainly speak to a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker, they're exactly the same things, and discuss your options. Should I do overpayments on my? Yeah, if you want. Can you change broker advisor after the fixed term? Absolutely, yes you can. What would I be looking at cost-wise for interest only? I don't know. There's so many variables that go into that. Should I do overpayments on my mortgage in the first 2 years of my mortgage or wait? I would do overpayments whenever you can, really. There's a benefit to it. How long does First Direct take? First Direct? I don't know. We don't. First Direct only deal with Consumers Direct. How far back in your bank statements do they look at? 3 months. If you've gone to First Direct, you've not looked at that. You've really... right, I suggest to me you've just gone straight to your bank. So chances are you're not getting the best deal that's available to you. People going to banks. Not good. Would you recommend remortgaging and pulling equity out to pay off Help to Buy or incorporating it when it ends? So I think the general intention was with Help to Buy that so you get it for 5 years. So you don't have to pay anything back for the first 5 years. In that 5 years, the thinking is your house increases in value, maybe you get pay rises, that kind of stuff. So when you come to your next or your first remortgage stage, you take additional borrowing to clear off the Help to Buy loan. We've certainly held quite a few clients with that. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly an option. There is a process you need to go through. So do get in touch and we'll speak you through it. Do banks want to see more than 3-month statements of all accounts or just salary? All accounts. All accounts. Partner moved out last week. We are 3 years into a 5-year fixed. What's best to do now? I'm on my own. Unfortunately, you're both liable for the mortgage, which needs to be paid. If you want to come out of your fixed term deal, you're going to have early repayment charges to come out of that, which are going to be probably quite sizable. It depends if you can afford it or not. Do payments tend to decrease the closer to the end of the mortgage? Not if you're on a fixed term deal. If you're on a fixed deal, the repayments are fixed. When you start mortgage application with a broker, what stuff do they ask for? 3 months pay slips, 3 months bank statements, ID, proof of address, and a credit file. What are the chances of our mortgage in principle not being approved when we do a further application? It depends who did it. If a mortgage broker did it, I would have thought it would be a good chance of it going through okay. If you did it yourself, then who knows, because you may not or probably haven't applied to the right lender for your circumstances. So when it comes to criteria, it may fall down. He's uploaded the certificate now and said they won't request bank statements. Is that right? I don't know what you're asking. Right, my throat is starting to get a bit dodgy, so I may have to wrap this up. So if anyone does want to book in a call, get in touch with us, then you can do by using the email address or the phone number or the... what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? If anyone wants to book in a call, you can do using the link in the TikTok bio, or you can go to the website, which is mellowfinancial.co.uk, and book in a call there. If you want a free first time buyer's guide, you can also download that from our website. If you'd like a free check my file report, that is available from the TikTok buyer. Our fee is $349. Will a broker tell you pretty fast if you've been declined? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, feel free to book in a call. Absolutely free, no obligation. We're happy to help. Yeah, loads to download in the TikTok bio and through the website. So do feel free to give us a call and a chat. But yeah, don't forget to follow. I'm going to give you a few minutes before I end the live to follow, so you don't miss out on any of this. Thank you, Luke. Thank you. So yeah, just got a few more seconds just to tick. Where's the thing? Where is it? It's going to be up there, is it? Up there? So yeah, I'm going to go. So make sure you follow, and I will see you next time. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your